Greetings, everyone. This is Mar, and once again, this is my opinion. As you can tell from the title up there, it is another episode of First Impressions, the video series where I give my initial thoughts on films, TV shows, occasional novel, and comic. Today's instance, it is a film. It's a film I've been meaning to watch for over a month now. I've been hearing good things about it from my friends, and a lot of them love it. And what has been keeping me from being able to watch it is time, and sadly, where I live in California, the closest place that was showing it in theaters was in Orange County, and scheduling prevented me from going most of the time. But since the film is now on home video and also through all the streaming sites, I got around to watching it. I actually went out and bought the DVD last week at Walmart. And I have to say, it is $15 well spent if you haven't bought it yet. Just to let you know, all the features are on both the Blu-ray and DVD, so if you want to just stick to the old school DVD with it like I did, you can do that. The film, of course, is the Nicolas Cage vehicle, directed by the son of George P. Panos Cosmanos. It is Mandy. And boy, was this film fun. This is a throwback stylistically in every sense of the word. And in that case, placing it in the 80s was a good move. The cinematography, oh my god, this was a beautiful film to look at. It has a very unique style. Definitely fits the over-the-top nature of this film. And all the use of reds and occasional blue really do fit and mesh well with this cinematography style. But I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself. What is the plot of this film? The plot is that we got the title character, Mandy, played by Andrea Riseborough, and her and Red, Nicolas Cage's character, is her boyfriend. They live together out in the woods. They live a peaceful life. Sit at home when they're relaxing, watch TV, talk about random stuff. Mandy reads books constantly. Well, one day, she is spotted by this gentleman who happens to be the leader of this weird Christian Manson-esque cult, and he becomes obsessed with her and wants her to be part of his cult. So he sends one of his right hands to go get her, and his right hand summons these bikers who at first seem like they're demonic, but later on it seems it's kind of like a maybe they're demonic, maybe they're not thing. They break into the house, they tie up Red, and they also drug and bring Mandy before our cult leader, who is named Jeremiah Sand, who's played by Linus Roach. And he also does a great performance, by the way. You really believe him as a crazy cult leader who, in the words of Shrek, you think he's compensating for something. Oh, I get that from how Linus delivered the lines. Well, Mandy does something that annoys Linus, and she ends up dead. And they leave Red for dead, but oh boy, they should not have done that. If you know anything about exploitation revenge films, you know that they messed up there. Well, Red manages to get free, and then he comes back for revenge, makes weapons, and goes after them. First he starts with the bikers, then he goes after the cult members, and from the moment he gets free, you know that he's going to be killing people. And that's essentially the film, is a one-man revenge trip. And trip is a perfect phrase to use with this, because when it comes to Nicolas Cage's performance, you get both ends of his acting spectrum. At the beginning and a little bit near the end, you get his more calm, sophisticated acting of performance you would expect to see from Cage in a more dramatic film like the film he won his Oscar from. I still need to watch, by the way. Whereas at the revenge point, he goes full crazy. But unlike a lot of the other films that he does this in, there actually is a story explanation for it. He snorts a line of cocaine at the biker's house and also takes a drop of LSD. So we're seeing Cage acting like he's on LSD, which, if you always thought that he probably did take a shot of that stuff before his performances, here, you're like, I always knew it. Now, this is Cosmatos' second film. His first one was Beyond the Black Rainbow from 2010. I think I want to track that film down and give it a watch. He also wrote the film, so it looks like he's one of those directors that can also write. So I'm looking forward to what he does next. He also, and of course, he's the son of George P. Cosmatos, like I said, who directed classic films, Tombstone, Cobra, even though there's that whole thing about him only ghost directing that. Of course, Rambo 2. of unknown origin, which I still need to watch one day down the road. So he does have a pedigree. It looks like he's one of those director's sons that actually can do a good directing job himself. Like I mentioned, the cinematography earlier, beautiful, really does fit the trippy throwback nature of the film. There's a couple times where it seems sane, but then every time they use drugs, it always gets a little weird. It's the type of thing that if you were to watch this under the influence of drugs, you'd start hallucinating. Kind of think of it as like if you were to take the opening scene of Fantasia and make it R-rated. That is essentially a good way to describe how a lot of the trippy moments look. But like I said, it fits the... And we have Benjamin Loeb to thank for that. He was our director of photography. This isn't his first rodeo, but it's his first major film, it looks like, other than Hello Destroyer and King Cobra. Haven't heard of those ones. He has another one coming out later called Winter Marchen. Looks like it's spelled German style, but I'll say that if he keeps doing cinematography like this, he's gonna have a good career. And Johan Johansson is our composer. He also did a good job. Sadly, he passed away at the beginning of the year, so this is one of his final composing roles. So, got to give him a good hand there. Looking through his filmography, he also did Sicario, The Theory of Everything, one of my favorite films of 2013, Prisoners, among others. So he has a decent career, it looks like. All around, the cast did a good job. I mean, this is Cage's vehicle. He carries this film emotionally and with the right amount of crazy. And the back of the DVD even has a quote from the playlist saying, Nicolas Cage gives the performance of a lifetime. That's up to interpretation, like how you would define that, but I could see why they would say that. Some would probably say that his Oscar-winning performance was the performance of a lifetime, since that's the one that won him the Oscar, especially with who he beat that year. He beat Richard Dreyfuss and Robin Williams that year, so that's some good competition to beat. Another quote on the back fits it better. Insanely violent and thoroughly beautiful from the Village Voice. That fits it. That fits it pretty well. If you are a fan of old school films, if you're a fan of throwback films, you're a fan of Nicolas Cage and when he goes batshit crazy the right way, this is definitely a film you need to check out. Whether you decide to rent it first or decide to just take the plunge like I did and buy it, you should go for it. In case you're wondering what the special features are, it has deleted and extended scenes and it has behind the scenes. That should be interesting, especially some of the behind the scenes on the fight scenes, especially the chainsaw scene, which I have a feeling that's a throwback homage to two separate films. I think that's a throwback to Phantasm 2 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. If you're going to homage a chainsaw scene, what better scene to homage? Rating, I'd say at least a 4 out of 5. Probably take me a couple more rewatches in order to get the whole score finitely right, but at least that. For my first impression, I'm leaning towards a 4.5, but like I said, probably gonna take a couple more times. The hard thing is, at first it takes a little bit to get started, but mainly the opening is to get you to like our lead and his girlfriend, and if you don't like them, then you're not going to be invested in what happens after.